that will take us on to Birds of Prey issue 1.
Finally.
I know, finally get the Birds of Prey issue 1. What a weird thought that is. So yeah, Birds of Prey issue 1 sets up some stuff.
We should say, the creative team.
Of course, forgive me. We of course have Chuck Dixon writing with Greg Land on art. Is that why you wanted me to say that?
Well, I just feel like we'd do it on all of them anyway. You should, keep that going.
All right. No harm in forgetting once in a while, but okay, yes.
Yeah.
So it starts off with kind of a joke here where Dinah's yelling, no, take it away, it's too horrible. And then the payoff to it is that it's actually a new computer that Barbara got her, because Dinah hates technology and is scared of using it. And there's a lot of fun jokes here. Dinah throwing the sheet over it so that she can't use the camera and things like that. Just a lot of stuff. It teases kind of where we're going with maybe some of the villains here, with Hellhound, who looks more like a cat, but that's that you're not there.
It's do you get cat vibes from that?
It looks more feline to me than dog-like. Yeah,
maybe. I wonder if that's just the way he's kind of like posing, though. I don't know do you know what I mean? Rather than the actual design.
You could have told me that was a crappy new design for Catman or Wildcat, and I'd have been like,
I get where you're coming from.
Just in a couple though, and just kind of teases that. Dinah's having more fun with this camera by wearing a goofy mask to scare the shit out of Barbara, who now has a Nightwing little doll next to her Batgirl doll, which...
Yeah, I noticed that as well.
Yeah, it's just alright. It's alright.
Post-it telling her to call Dad.
But we actually bring back Real Asia. If you remember, Real Asia was the country they went to, I think back in that first one shot, I want to say, that we did. But we introduce this mysterious blonde character, and I'm saying it that way because we find out by the end of the issue who this is, but I'm going to say mysterious blonde man for now.
Yes.
With a walking stick, and the walking stick might actually tip you off if you're...
if you know your history.
Yeah. I mean, even if you've been reading Batgirl recently, the walking stick would tip you off. Yeah. So... He's there and he's doing stuff with he's got
Jackie Pajamas.
Yes, I was going to say he's got a more proper name, but the nickname for him is Jackie Pajamas.
His actual name is Jackie Parmigianian.
Yes, but everyone calls him Jackie Pajamas, and I remembered that. So I think the writer did a really good job there of giving me something easy to remember, because I remember Jackie Pajamas.
Yeah, it's notable where they go, just call me by the famous name Jackie Pajamas. I'm like, oh, I'm going to remember that.
So Dinah's on location to figure out what's going on. I will say, I don't think the Greg Land effect pops up too much here. Like we said in that last issue he popped up on, he's mostly just a 90s artist in what we've seen here in this book. But Dinah sitting all sexy on her towel on the cruise ship, arriving in the country. There's one glaring problem with this, and... it's the way that her body's kind of twisted. She's doing that kind of sexy one leg over, so her ass is kind of sticking into the air. Except her upper half of her body is perfectly facing forward. If you actually stop to think about how her middle abdomen must be twisting to achieve this pose, then you've got a problem.
I'd say don't stop and think about it, but the problem is you kind of do. As soon as you see it.
Yeah, it's like 2/3 of the page. It's like a big spread at the top. It's pretty in your face. I actually kind of like the design. I like the big hat and the sunglasses for her. I think that actually kind of suits her attitude.
It's about as much of a disguise as she's willing to bother with. Yeah.
She's going for kind of, I don't know, rich socialite, I guess, from like the 80s. Like, she's going for that kind of vibe. I do like how the book she's reading has the word Dixon on it. They've put a wee Easter egg in there for the writer. But she's there for recon, and Babs is trying to tell her it's it's not meant to be a bait mission, and she's like, they're all bait missions, Babs. It's all about luring them in. Hopefully it likes blondes.
She's there just like, let's just get on with this.
Yeah. So one of the big things that it sets up here is, which I'm sure is going to be a villain later on, is that Babs has got a pen pal that she talks to on the internet. Which, by the way, Babs's screen name is Rolling Thunder, which is a little amusing. I'm not going to lie.
It's 90s.
It's very 90s. Yeah. But it sets up that she's got this guy that she talks to who wants to meet her in person, but she's not comfortable doing that. But they're kind of talking back and forth. You're going to hate that I bring up a Buffy reference here, but it was impossible for me not to think of Willow in I, Robot You, Jane, an episode of the hit television show Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Really, that's where you're going with this. You're going with that episode. That
episode, because she's talking, she meets a guy online, it turns out to be a demon. It was sort of hard not to sort of think of that episode when I was reading these pages.
It's very easy not to think of that episode when reading these pages.
It's very, not at all. That episode might not be the best episode, but I have fun with it. So it sets this up that she's got this thing. There's not really much addressing it for the rest of the issue. It's just kind of there to set up this going forward. But my favourite part of this issue, actually, I love this, is at the Pentagon. There's a couple of people who are part of the tech division in the Pentagon are freaking out because someone has been hacking in and using their database and their system like as much as they want for the past several months. And I feel like I'm jumping to the conclusion that this is Oracle. They could cite swerves here and it's actually a villain who's doing this.
It could be the guy she's talking to.
It could be. But I do kind of love the idea that they're too scared to admit to the higher ups that this is happening because it'll be seen as too risky to even have this division and they'll lose their gig. So that no, we're going to track this person down ourselves and put a stop to this, even though we're not field agents. We could do it. And I just loved the guy's cheesy smile. This is maybe when the art's at its best, is this guy's cheesy smile as he's saying, we'll be heroes, we'll go after this guy, but we won't tell anyone.
We'll be heroes, and then the look down of disappointing him, but we can't tell anyone.
Yeah. I really think this is an idea. The idea that Babs has been, I mean, again, it could not be Babs, it might be someone else, but I do love if it is Babs though. I love the idea that someone's noticed that she's like using the Pentagon, the military defense systems to like just search for things, and I don't know.
It's pretty funny, yeah.
I love that idea. So Dinah's doing some recon. She's got the goggles on. She's sneaking into the pajamas house, the pajamas household, and taking out the guards left and right. She's sneaking past the guys in the living room watching the big screen TV. Remember when those were a thing?
Yeah.
I mean, we actually have bigger TVs now, but I'm talking about specifically when they were called big screen TVs.
Huge, bulky things.
Yeah. But she's sneaking in, and again, Babs has been very careful, wants her to watch what she's doing, not do anything too serious, not make any noise, don't get caught, yada yada yada. But she sneaks into the hidden place in the basement, the big security vault, and there's like Rolexes and cameras, and this is weird. Didn't expect this rich guy to just be like someone who collects watches. It's like he's a peddler, someone who goes and sells stuff at the market. And then she finds jars full of human body parts, and it's like, oh shit, this guy's a complete maniac. I have to get out of here.
Couple of fingers, some ears, the usual.
And Babs like, go now. She's like, no, you're going to scan the room right with these goggles. She's like, okay, fine, but as soon as I do that, you have to go. So at the end of the issue though is as she's leaving, she looks down from the balcony and sees Pajamas arriving in a helicopter with a couple of ladies, but the other person in the helicopter, the guy that Pajamas is entertaining, is this mysterious blonde man with the walking stick. And Babs just happens to say, wait, I know who that is. And she's like, you do? It's like, yeah, that's Jason Bard. It's like, wait, you know him well? It's like, well, only if you count the time we were engaged. And the last panel is just these two guards sneaking up behind Dinah, and she's like, say it again, Oracle. Say that again. That's a pretty big statement. Say it again.
Yeah, that's quite a funny beat.
It's a funny beat, and I certainly didn't remember this if I knew this, that they were engaged at some point in continuity.
It's something that's like, sure, in the back of my head. It didn't surprise me.
Yeah, it's one of the funny things because obviously Batgirl, the comic recently, has been trying to sort of establish some sort of romance between them, and I've not liked it in that. Funnily enough, the idea that there was a romance and she hates his guts now is way more appealing to me than going through the start of a romance with him.
Oh, it's way more fun, yeah.
Yeah, like that, because this beat was way funnier than any sort of chemistry or lack of chemistry they've had in the main Batgirl book in recent months.
Yeah.
So
yeah, definitely. I mean, it's a pretty low bar, admittedly, but yeah.
I mean, I think when you look at this issue, it sets up a couple of seeds that it's going to continue forward, but it gives you a lot of Barbara and Dinah sort of joking with each other and their chemistry, which is kind of the main thing in the book, and it is technically an issue 1, so it has to kind of sell that to the new reader. So I think it's pretty successful in that sense. I guess the real question is, does it do enough from a plot perspective? And I think it's interesting that it chooses to end. I mean, obviously, it's got the cliffhanger part of the guys with the guns behind her, but I think it's interesting and maybe a smart choice to end it on a more personal, humorous beat between them. Because if the main thing this issue is selling is their playful back and forth with each other, to end it on a comedy beat that plays off of that might actually be the best thing to attract people to come back. Say, hey, you care about these two, you like these two, come back for more of that.
The whole issue is how Dinah doesn't know Babs at all. Doesn't even know her name. Like that's a recurring thing through this issue that they really want to sell. So by getting to the end of this and going, oh hey, this bad guy, I may have been engaged to him, and and Dinah not knowing that at all, is taking that to the nth degree and really blowing it up. And it neatly sets up that early on, and this payoff really works because of it.
Yeah, and Barbara doesn't want her to know her name because it's safer for everyone involved if no one knows who she really is. That said, knowing that she used to be engaged to him now, surely it doesn't take that much effort to find out who he's been engaged to in the past. And then, assuming the list isn't that long, which...
I was going to say, this is Jason Bott.
I'd be curious to see how quickly we keep this, her not knowing who she is, up, but...
Yeah, I can't imagine it lasts that lot more than by the end of the first arc. Surely it's okay, fine. I understand why we need to be a bit more transparent with each other.
Need to trust each other, so on.
Yeah,
makes sense.
The usual first arc team stuff.
Yeah, and the art's got moments. The art's got moments where I like it. It's got moments where I don't like it. Like I say, the sort of, it's not a bikini she's wearing exactly. It's more of a swimsuit, but like. The bikini page, I'll call it, for the lack of a better term, is definitely where I go, there's some Greg Land really sticking out.
I kind of felt it, not to the same degree, not in quite the same way, but with the girl at the end getting off the helicopter.
Oh, sure.
Dinah makes a comment that she's underage. And I'm like, really? Like this art? It doesn't come across that other than... And I don't know why Dinah is making that conclusion from this art.
Yeah, again, that would be a fault in the art, not selling it. It's almost like he wanted to just draw someone sexy instead of trying to sell that this was someone who was underage.
Yeah, like it's supposed to be like the writings go, no, this guy's incredibly sleazy. Instead of just if I take away that comment of saying that she's underage, it just looks like rich guy on a helicopter with standard girl, right?
Yeah. I think. The problem here is that they say it's underage, but the art is telling us to enjoy it. The art is telling us, hey, look, attractive women, when that's not what we're thinking. We're thinking underage. So it's a disconnect. It's a disconnect. That would be a thing, regardless of what the art actually is, though. That would be a disconnect just in the choices. In terms of the art quality... I mean, it's not as bad as the Dinah page in that sense.
No, I agree. In terms of the actual quality of the drawing, it's fine. It's the choice of drawing that I question here.
No, I agree. It read weird because she doesn't look underage at all, and I think that's not that Dinah's making a mistake. It's that the art's not showing what's supposed to be showing.
And I'm gonna go out on a limb and say Dinah's not making a mistake because the next panel. Is Babs watching and someone else gets off the helicopter and says, and another underage honey. So the conclusion is that she's seeing the same thing as Dinah and is clearly getting this conclusion that we're just not at all.
Yeah, she looks like any sort of like mid-20s like comic character really from the art. So no, but yeah. So that is Birds of Prey issue 1. It is pretty good. It is pretty good. Like I say, some art issues here or there. But I think in terms of the writing, it sets up all the things that it wants to do. Some of the new elements it set up are kind of fun, and it kind of leans into the strengths of what this book has been. Even if some of the issues have been too long recently, because it's all been these big one shots. This definitely leans into the strengths of what made the good parts good and what made that first one shot so great.
I definitely don't have that problem here with the length because this flew in.
Oh yeah, this was paced perfectly. This was a neat breeze to read. So what are you giving it?
I'm going to give it a solid 7. I think it would be higher if the art was a bit better here or there.
Yeah, I will agree with the 7. I think, and as the art, I think if the art was better, then we'd be looking at a more solid, great score. But
I think it's interesting though, as a first issue, which for all intents and purposes we have to treat it as one, even though it's not really. It's very low key. really,
Yes.
for a typical first issue. There's not a lot of big, exciting action beats, really. So it's quite interesting in that angle.
Yeah, I kind of appreciate it. I don't really need it. I mean, obviously there's a conventional wisdom that you put a big bang thing in your first issue, but I kind of appreciate that they didn't rush to that.
No, I did as well, because it feels like, no, this team, we've been building to this for like 6-7 issues now, really. But by the time we get here, and the writers are aware that the most people reading this issue 1 will be coming from the other one shots, because I mean, even the cover says, by popular demand. So there is an awareness that it was selling well enough to see more. That okay, that's why we're doing this. So maybe gave him the safety net of not needing to do the traditional first issue route.
Yeah, that makes sense.